It's Tuesday, January 9. In the headlines, Jamaica Teachers Association and the government agree on outstanding compensation. In business news, the Caribbean reaches all-time high in hotel performance. In regional news, Belize receives over $3 million for climate resilience projects. And in sports, India donates 100 cricket kits to Jamaica. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, and the government have agreed on some outstanding allowances that were not agreed upon since the new compensation package for teachers was signed last year. JTA President Leighton Johnson says what was offered during negotiations had to do with the implementation of teachers' graduate allowance, as well as the remote inducement allowance being calculated on the current salary scale. In a release on Sunday, Mr. Johnson explained that the graduate allowance and the remote inducement allowance were not applied to the salaries of teachers who fell into those categories arising from the new compensation review. In terms of the implementation schedule, Mr. Johnson says the new salary is to be paid April 2024 and that retroactive amounts for the period April 1, 2022 to March 31, 2024 should be paid in 2 installments at 60% in August 2024 and the remaining 40% in December 2024. Mr. Johnson says, quote, "We will work closely with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Finance to ensure that all parties agree on the amounts to be paid prior to the April 2024 implementation date and the subsequent retroactive payments due in August and December 2024, end quote. The Ministry of Education and Youth plans to develop technology labs in primary schools. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams says equipping these institutions with the technology labs is critical to promoting the development of critical skills for the digital age. The move is part of the government's push to harness ICT as a major pillar in the transformation of the education sector. The minister notes that more than half of the number of schools targeted for internet access have already received that service. Mrs. Williams was speaking on Monday at the Queen's School in Kingston, where she visited to usher the new school term. The education minister, in a post on social media, says her team will continue to push science, energy, technology, and mathematics in schools.
Encouraging innovation and interest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics among students. We want our students to develop problem-solving skills and to be prepared for the rapidly developing world of work.
Safety in schools is also a priority.
More security cameras and perimeter fencing will be installed. We will seek to improve safety and security at entry and exit points of our schools, and random searches will continue. Our partnership with the Ministry of Justice in the area of restorative justice, child diversion, and other services will be expanded.
The government plans to increase the budget to facilitate the construction of an additional 500 new homes under the new social housing program, with the goal of improving the living conditions for more Jamaicans. That's the word from Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
That is going to mean that we will have to introduce new modalities for housing. But the construction methodology used is quite expensive. And we have to find newer methodologies, better technology, and more cost-effective technology to provide housing solutions like these.
According to the Prime Minister, work has already started to facilitate this goal.
We have already started that process. We have identified new building methodologies, which we will be implementing in the near future to put up structures like these.
He says this strategic initiative reflects the government's dedication to addressing Jamaica's housing challenges and creating a brighter future for Jamaicans. According to Mr. Holness, the strength of the new social housing and indigent housing programs is evident based on the significant impact on those who have benefited.
You have heard before of other attempts at social intervention in housing to treat with poverty, and they would have been riddled with allegations and cases of corruption. This is not the case with the programs that this administration has put in place. None, because we ensure that we put in place all the measures necessary to ensure that whatever benefits there are to be delivered are delivered to the people to whom it matters the most.
Stress is defined as a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. However, there are ways to manage stress. That is what we're exploring in this Living Healthy report. Everyone reacts differently when they feel stressed or depressed. Let's hear how some people handle their incidences of stress.
Don't know a fashion bar, but the way I release my stress, I just get me youth, get my big racing car, go up a Devon house, I just drive, and after I drive, I just sit and drink a bottle of water, so I release my stress.
Well, for me personal, I do various different things. So for instance, I have money, I might go to one party or a bar or so, go have some drink. At that time, might be you can get a phone call, somebody fulfill a promise to you and you just feel good, that ease your stress out. Sometimes you can have sex, you have another time you can go for swimming, play some football, various different things.
No stress, and money me say, right now work and save. That all of the young youth, them young girls, them work and save the money. That means that stress, and don't worry about stress. Leave stress alone, stress not going nowhere.
Massage therapy can be used for the treatment of mental and emotional problems, including stress, anxiety, and depression. Also considered a relaxation technique, massage therapy may be able to help reduce tension and elicit feelings of calm and deep relaxation. Remember, when you feel stressed or even a little depressed, take control. Avoid caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. Indulge in physical activity. Get more sleep. Try relaxation techniques. Talk to someone. Keep a stress diary and manage your time. Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. While the majority of travelers are still visiting the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas, an increase of airlift and new airlines in the region have allowed for more visitation to some of the smaller islands. This resulted in double-digit growth for hotel occupancy for 2023 of 63% when compared to the 66% growth in 2019, according to hospitality intelligence firm HVS. The average spend per night in the Caribbean was $155. That said, the region will need to build a greater supply of hotel rooms to meet demand. Analysis at HVS notes that despite the record performance metrics and visitation from both air and sea that was achieved in 2023, the region still has its challenges to work through. Interest in new hotel and resort developments is prevalent as demand continues to outpace supply. However, developers are facing a challenging financing environment to get new projects off the ground, and increased insurance costs have proven to be challenging for new developments. However, despite these ongoing issues, the Caribbean continues to shine as new air routes continue to be added to the region, and cruise ships continue to add new ports of entry. The outlook is favorable for additional hotel rooms and demand growth in 2024, barring any natural disasters. EPLI has advised that for compliance with recent amendments to the Jamaica Stock Exchange main market rules, its audit committee has been reorganized as follows. 1. Mr. Brian Thompson was appointed as an independent member of the audit committee effective January 5, 2024. Second, Mr. Nicholas Scott has resigned from the audit committee effective January 5, 2024. EPLI has further advised that Mr. Scott's resignation is in no way related to any disagreement in respect of accounting principles or practices, financial statement disclosure, or any other issue impacting the audit committee or his ability to properly carry out the functions delegated by the board. At the annual general meeting AGM on December 6, 2023, which was held in a virtual format, Siboney announced several changes. The company, which was bought last year by Wiltshire Consulting and Advising Limited, was on the market for more than 20 years as a former tourism company that had sold off all of its assets and was simply trading as a shell company looking for a buyer. Among the changes will be a name change to Innovative Energy Group Limited. Another change coming is that the maximum number of shares that the company is authorized to issue has been increased from 546 million ordinary shares of no par value to an unlimited number of ordinary shares of no par value. The AGM also approved a resolution for directors Wayne Ray, Kyle Davey, and Conley Salmon retiring by rotation pursuant to Article 90 of the company's Article of Association to be re-elected as directors of the company. During trading on January 8, 2024, the top advancing stocks covered the energy, pharmaceuticals, and tourism sectors on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Wigton Wind Farm shares advanced 11% and increased by 8 cents in share price to close at 81 cents with 6 million shares traded. Indies Pharma Jamaica Limited shares advanced 9.67% to grow by 26 cents to close at $2.95 with 168,000 shares traded. Dolphin Cove Limited shares advanced by 8.36% to grow in value by $1.52 to close at $19.70 with 2,000 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on January 8, 2024, the top 3 losers covered the tourism, transportation, and distribution sectors. Margaritaville Limited declined 19% with the share price falling to 10 cents with 87 shares traded. Knutsford Express Services Limited declined 15.48%, a loss of $1.95 in value to close at $10.65 with 12,000 shares traded. Cargo Handlers Limited declined 14.57% to have $2.04 fall off its share price to close at $11.96 with 4,800 shares traded. Over to the Twin Island Republic. Trading activity for January 8, 2024 on the first-tier market registered a volume of 96,800 shares, crossing the floor of the exchange valued at 1.1 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars. Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader with 55,000 shares changing hands for a volume of 244,000 TT dollars, followed by Unilever Caribbean Limited with a volume of 9,800 shares being traded for 118,000 Trinidad dollars. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies that are making waves on the regional stock markets, we turn to the Forex market. On January 8, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $18.6 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $18 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $155.08 and bought the US dollar for $153.42. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.66, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar sold. Canadian Forex traders earned a profit of $14.01 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $124.76 and bought for $110.75. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $8.41, selling the pound for $199.58 and buying it for $191.17. We now look at the credit report tip of the day. In the world of finance, your credit score is like a golden ticket to increased opportunities and financial freedom. It's not just a number. It's a powerful asset that can unlock doors to cash, credit, and a host of financial benefits. Your credit score is a key determinant when it comes to securing loans and lines of credit. Whether you're looking to fund a business venture, invest in education, or handle unexpected expenses, a solid credit score can be your ticket to the cash you need. It's like having a financial safety net at your fingertips. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update.
In regional news, Belize has made history by being one of the first governments to oversee and manage funds from the Green Climate Fund. Over $3 million was handed over to the government to fund several climate resilience projects. Here is News 5's Brittany Gordon with the details.
While Belize has always been a champion in climate change initiatives, the time has come for climate resilience, which involves being able to successfully cope and manage impacts of climate change and preventing those impacts from getting worse. In November 2023, world leaders convened at the United Nations Climate Change Conference, where Belize was able to negotiate further funding for such endeavors.
Our main aim is now to be more independent, because a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, automatically, Belize qualifies for $1 million on an annual basis from GCF, which is under the Readiness Fund. But we do have a lot of problem to spend those monies because the accredited entities look at $1 million as small funds, as small monies, and then it's being cut into a lot of little projects. So it's a lot of work with limited or not too much of a good incentive for the accredited entities. Therefore, by the Ministry of Economic Development being able to implement the readiness, it will help because we can work faster and implement at a much faster rate.
We spoke with Dr. Osman Martinez, Chief Executive Officer for the Ministry of Economic Development, who told us about Belize's immediate plans for the grants, which included additional education programs and better equipment for the Met Service.
The main objective here is that the $3.157 million Belize dollars, which is a grant that we are getting, it's not a loan, it's a grant. It will be covering three main components. Component number one is it will assist with the capacity building for the Met Office, and that includes training for the Met personnel in data analysis, instruments, maintenance, and installations. And there will also be opportunities for personnel at the Met Office to study for a master's degree for the electronic technicians in computer networking. And then component number 2 is purchasing of equipment for MET and NEMO office. So there will be, for example, computers that will definitely be purchased with these funds. And the third one is to develop and implement a multi-hazard early warning system and transition to impact-based forecasting, which will include public assessment and awareness before and after implementations, and multi-hazard system to warn people about potential floodings, heat, droughts in the Belize district.
Many Bahamians are now on high alert after the Ministry of Health released a statement on Monday night alerting the public to an uptick on COVID cases, including a recent death in Grand Bahama. Marlene Leonard of Our News asked residents about the possible return of pandemic levels and the mask management mandate.
The World Health Organization's latest COVID-19 update pointed to a 52% increase in the number of new COVID-19 cases globally in the 28 days between November 20th and December 17th, 2023, when compared to the 28 days prior. And we've seen an increase at home as well, with the Ministry of Health releasing an advisory last night about an uptick in cases, including a death in Grand Bahama. But if COVID is making a rebound, how do Bahamians feel about the return of protective protocols, like the return of masks?
Oh, it's not a problem with me. I would like to wear a mask if it's increasing. I understand that in Freeport it's increasing there, so I know it will be increased here also. So it's not a problem. I'll wear a mask because it's to protect me.
I was wearing my mask. Yeah. But I stopped that like that. I think that COVID coming back. That's what I think.
This resident says hopefully we can learn from how we handled COVID in the past.
This is very unfortunate because, we've had so many deaths from people that from this COVID situation. And I think at first we didn't take it as seriously as we should have. And I think that this time we should take all measures that we have to take in order for people to be protected. Because we were so lax the last time that it happened, we had so many situations with people dying. So I think that we need to move really quickly on it, and I think that this would help to prevent a lot of situations.
For this gentleman, he says it wouldn't require much change for him, as he never stopped carrying masks.
I think you should wear a mask again, but to protect yourself. That's how I think about it. Different from that, don't make no deal to me, because I can always have my mask. My mask always in my car.
The government of Guyana is considering an amicable repayment proposal from the Panamanian government for rice supplied years ago, for which they were never paid. Attorney General Anil Nandal says if the government accepts the proposal from the government of Panama, it may forego the interest accrued over the years.
Based upon the proposals we have received, which we are actively considering, Guyana may have to forego the interest that would have accrued under the debt. The interest is almost the same size or larger than the principal now, having regard to the length of time that the monies took to be paid. The principal sum is approximately $7 million and the interest is at almost the same level. Why there is a great temptation to settle, though we may have to write off the interest, is that we will have to expend hundreds of thousands of US dollars at the arbitration proceedings, and win we may. But at the end of the day, we are dealing with a government, and we may have, even after winning, great difficulty in securing payment from a government. An arbitral award, though binding, is difficult to enforce against a government. It's not a private entity whereby you can seize the assets of that entity. Here you are dealing with a government of a country, and it is often very difficult to enforce judgments or arbitral awards against a government. So while we may get judgment at the arbitration proceedings, the judgment may end up being not worth the paper it is written on if we are unable to enforce it and secure payment thereunder. Those are the considerations that are heavily prevailing upon our minds as we negotiate a settlement of this matter.
In sports, it was a case of promise made, promise kept. During a 2022 visit to the island, President of the Republic of India, Ram Nath Kovind, pledged 100 cricketing kits to Jamaica. At that time, there were only 10 kits on hand during that visit. Fast track 2 years later, and the remaining 90 kits are here. Melvin Pennant was at the handing over ceremony, and he filed this report.
The atmosphere was jubilant at the handing over ceremony held at the Indian High Commission's office in Kingston on Thursday, January 4. India's ambassador to Jamaica holds high hopes for the kits being used to promote the sport locally and to expand cooperation across other sporting disciplines.
Some of your cricketers, Honorable Minister, are more known in India than in Jamaica because of the thanks to IPL. I therefore hope that this small gesture will trigger more cooperations, not only in the sport of cricket, but also in the sports, particularly in track and field athletics.
Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Honourable Olivia Babsy-Grange, was also in attendance and gave her remarks.
I must record my very deep appreciation to the High Commissioner and the people of India for this gift to the Jamaica Cricket Association, which will benefit young cricketers across the country. Now, these kits come in time for the schoolboy cricket season. And I know that the gear will be well appreciated by our young cricketers and will play an important role in our cricket development program.
Jamaica Cricket Association President, Mr. Billy Heaven, spoke of the importance of the donation.
It is significant for us here because we are targeting high schools. We want to reach out to the high schools with the gears because, as you know, cricket is an expensive sport. But the interest in cricket in Jamaica is generally still high, and we just have to meet the youngsters halfway in terms of what we provide for them to be engaged in playing the game of cricket.
He also gave a small detail as to how the kits will be distributed.
As you know, and as I've said, it's not a straight line distribution because some parishes have fewer high schools than the others. So where you have fewer high schools, we're looking at maybe 50%, reaching out to 50% of those high schools. But in Kingston and St. Andrew, for example, that percentage will be much lower. But we're targeting a reasonable number of high schools in Kingston and St. Andrew as well, so that we can have a robust high school program out there for the development of cricket.
World-renowned Jamaican cricketer Jermaine Blackwood gave his thoughts on the donation.
I think it's a wonderful gift. I think all of the high schools and all of the kids going to, love all of these gears that I'm seeing. I think they're good quality. And I think, excellent gift from the Indian people and the Indian government.
The Indian High Commissioner also spoke of the strong bond between the two nations and the enthusiasm shared over the sport.
Our relationships spread over several areas, including, of course, the bilateral political relationship, commercial and business relationship, cultural relationship, including, of course, the sports. India is a cricketing nation, and as well as the Jamaica. You know that we have been competing in the various tournaments in the sports of cricket, and this is important for us.
Reporting for PBCJ News, I am Melvin Pennant.
And that's it for the news on PBC Jamaica. Thank you so much for watching.